so that Derek can tell you a little bit about what he's doing. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some questions from the audience in a little bit. So Derek, I'm going to hand over to you. I'd love for you to tell us what you've enjoyed so far about being at World Fitness Expo.
Well, first of all, how you guys doing? You guys good? You guys all right? Well, first, I just want to say, first and foremost, I absolutely love this city. I love Toronto. I actually lived here for a couple months 7 years ago. I was shooting a movie just a block away. So I love coming here. I love the people. I love you all. And I'm very happy to be here at the World Fitness Expo. Obviously, being a dancer, being an athlete, fitness, health, nutrition, these are all things that are so wildly important to me. You know, I think that we all have things that we want to achieve, right? We have these dreams, we have these desires, and we have them at the top of our list. Well, I believe that health should be at the very, very, very top of our list, because we can't be a certain person. We can't, you know, give to our family. We can't serve others. We can't, you know, achieve some of our dreams unless we have a fit body, healthy lifestyle, giving us that energy to achieve all the things that we want in our life, right? Am I right in saying that? Kind of? Yeah? Like, maybe! Just kidding. Well, anyways, by the way, as we're talking here, I'm more than happy to, if you have any questions in the moment, just raise your hand, I'll come straight to you. Have any questions at all, whatsoever. We got a mic for you if you want. So if you have anything, feel free. I'm happy to come answer anything you want. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, wait, real fast, go ahead.
I love World of Dance, and I watch you all the time, and how you interact with all the athletes. And the other day, in your last episode with the duels, you were saying that you don't like waiting to see the performance get to the middle of the jelly donut. And I'm wondering, do you really like jelly donuts?
Do I like jelly donuts? Okay, so what she's saying is that on this episode, basically my point of that, basically saying that it was like a jelly donut because the best part was in the middle, and the beginning and the end were a little lackluster. That was my point, even though afterwards I was like, what was I talking about, jelly donuts? Like, what the heck? And I guess that was about the structure of... That was about the structure of the routine, you know, basically the idea that I believe that you need to have a strong intro, you gotta have a strong middle, and you have to end strong because it's the last impression you have. And so that was my point making to that team, or that group in that moment. And do I like jelly donuts? Yeah, they're good. I like jelly donuts. They're all right, yeah. Anything else, guys? Happy? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Amigo, dime algo en español.
Do I speak Spanish? Spaniel. Do I speak Spanish? Oh, that was I'm terrible. I don't know. My father does, though. My father speaks fluent Spanish. He actually served a mission in Honduras. So, Honduras? No way, fantastic, yeah. So, I don't, though, unfortunately. I apologize. But I shall shake your hand. Anything else, guys? Anything? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Please tell me you're returning to Dancing with the Stars.
Returning to Dancing with the Stars? Well, in the near future, there's no plans as of now. World of Dance has been a wild success, which I'm so thankful for. But I have to say, it has. I'm so stoked. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. And what I mean by that is I had absolute belief in the show because I knew it was fantastic. But being a part of a show for so long, I was part of Dancing with the Stars for 17 seasons, 10 years, right? A decade, which is crazy. You know, you feel comfortable, you feel safe. I felt, but I also talk to people a lot about you have to jump, you have to go for things, you have to try new things, you have to do things differently a little bit to scare yourself a little bit. And so I knew I was a little comfortable, and so when I got this opportunity, when Jennifer Lopez came knocking on my door and said, hey Derek, I want you to be part of the show, let's go, and I was like, I can't say no to J-Lo. No, but the idea, I knew I was a little bit nervous about it, and that's why I knew I needed to do it. You know, because I think that you need to put yourself in positions where you don't feel totally comfortable, you don't always feel at ease, so that's what I did. I went and took that chance. But Dancing with the Stars, love it dearly, love the people, producers, they're all still my family, still my friends. Everybody's getting married now. I love it. And, pardon? And me? Get married? I mean, who knows? I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Writers sometimes get writer's block when you're doing choreography. What do you do, like if you're get in that block? Like, what do you do to snap out of it? What's your...
If I can get a creative block, oh my gosh. Well, okay, so there's two types of your brain, right? The logic brain, which is like your survival mechanism, where it's kind of like, it needs to see things that it recognizes. It needs familiarity. It needs certainty, right? And once I sort of like get into that space, there's no chance. I have to get into the artist brain, where it's all about taking chances. It's about, you know, taking risks, seeing things that are unfamiliar, uncertainty, right? So what I tend to do, one, is bash my head against the wall several times. No, but there's moments where I actually, I don't know if any of you saw this, there's a TED Talk, I think, and they talk about how there's like demons or something, where there was a point in time, hopefully this makes sense, hold on, this is going somewhere, I promise. They're like, what is he talking about, demons? About how there was a point in time when artists, they took half credit for their art. They always said, like, I did this, but also it was something else that did this as well. And then there was a point in time when it became like, no, I did this. That's my genius. That's my brilliance. And we started taking full ownership. And so there's this TED Talk that talks about how when you sort of give up half of that responsibility almost, and you kind of put it out there, where it takes that pressure off. It takes the pressure off, where you don't like, I have to come up with something, and you keep banging your head against the wall. For me, that was really helpful, because I kind of acted it out. I was like, hey, I'm waiting for an idea. Hey, I started talking to something like that wasn't there, and people thought I was crazy. But then all of a sudden, I was kind of out of my head and in my body. You know, there's a great expression that's in your head, you're dead. You know, and that's basically when you get into that logic brain, that survival brain. You know, yeah, which isn't really creative, I guess you could say. So another way too, I would say, is I just start moving. Getting into my body, put some music on, just start dancing, moving, and see what happens. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. Let me do that. Come over here. And I grab my partner, and I'm like, here. I have an idea. And I have these weird idea stutters where I go, it's weird, it's scary, bizarre, out of context, just like that moment. You guys are like, this guy is weird, man. I love it. All right, go ahead.
Hi, so you do a lot of dancing with your sister, and being judged by your sister.
Yes.
So I was
by the way,
wondering,
every day of my life.
So what is it like for you to come up with choreographed pieces with her, and to be ultimately judged in front of the world by her?
Well, luckily, that doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened for a couple years, so that's good. But in the moment when that did happen, totally fine. You know, it's funny, actually, I was just talking about that today in an interview about sibling rivalry and about having competition with your siblings and if that's healthy or not. And for me, I believe that competition, one, is healthy, right? I think that it's healthy competition. I don't think comparing is healthy, though, right? That's different. I think competition, having something measurable, you know, because sometimes it's like, well, do your best. Well, what is my best? I don't know. But if you see somebody and you go, well, I need to be better than them, or I want to be as good, or whatever it might be, there's something measurable there to base your progress on. But what you don't want to do necessarily is compare yourself and ask yourself the different questions of where you're like, well, why am I not that good? You know, why don't I look that way? You know, you start asking these questions, and the wrong questions, you're going to get the wrong answers, essentially. You know, instead of like, well, how can I improve? How can I be better? How can I be better, right? Those are the questions that are going to give you the right answers, going to help you improve, get you the momentum that you need to have progress, right? And progress equals happiness. So, going back to the Julianne thing, judging me at the time, I felt okay about it. I felt fine because, you know, we're very supportive of each other. My family, we're very close. And there's a thing too, I think it's funny, with your family, when you win, this is why I feel like we should think about with our families in general. This is my own personal view. If a family member wins, you win. If they succeed, you succeed. You know, we're all on the same team. That's the way I look at it. And that's what I try to stress, especially to my family, you know, whatever it might be, because I'm always going to be there for them, you know, no matter what. And I hope they are for me. And so that's my sort of view on family and support and connection. So yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm a really big fan of yours. You're such an inspiration to me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, I know you're going on tour next year. I can't wait to see you. I bought tickets already. but what made you decide to go on a solo tour instead of like going with your sister on tour?
Just sick of her. I'm just kidding. Remember that support? No, I'm kidding. You know, for one, again, going back to like the fearful thing, right? It's kind of scary, you know, going out on your own. But also, it's she's kind of not in that frame of mind where she wants to tour right now. She's a little bit more like wants to stay home. But also, it's something that I felt like would be interesting because I'm gonna have a live band, which hasn't really been done on these dance shows on tour yet, where we have live music, you know, live percussionist on stage, guitar, you know, feeling that live element with the live dancers combined, which I'm really excited about doing. I'm kind of bummed I'm not coming through Canada. I don't know who booked that tour. I told my routers, I was like, yo, why are we going? What's going on? And it was a routing issue, so. But if there's one close by, please come down. It's gonna be a blast, I promise. It's gonna be incredible.
So I'm wondering, amongst all the hustle and bustle in your life and all the busy things you do, how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
So through all the crazy things in my life, how do I maintain a healthy lifestyle? For me, it's keep moving. Keep moving. I think that, you know, there's an expression, you know, motion equals emotion. The way you move affects the way you feel. I've said it 1,000 times, but because I really believe that it's really important to me. And I feel like that when you experience something emotionally, it happens in your nervous system, right? You have to physically feel it. So for me, the way I kind of stay healthy and stay, you know, centered is that. I think it's staying grateful. I think it's staying grateful because when you stay grateful, you're in a good state, right? You're in a good frame of mind, and when you're in a good frame of mind, you want to take care of yourself. When you want to take care of yourself, you want to take care of others. You want to serve others. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a full circle, but I really feel like it starts with self-care, right? Giving yourself that time. You know, people. I remember hearing people being like, I'm like, well, how many times do you get a massage? Something, and they're like, what? Never. Like, not a massage. Like, I can't. No, I feel guilty, or I feel ashamed, or whatever it might be. And I'm like, why? You know, well, because I don't know. They almost feel uncomfortable taking care of themselves, and I'm like, listen, I feel like it's like a necessity. You gotta take care of yourself. You know, you gotta put your mask on, like in the plane, right? You gotta put the mask on yourself before you can put your mask on somebody else. So I really strongly advise people to, you know, take care of themselves, not just, you know, with nutrition or health or fitness, but also recovery, massage, whatever it is, to de-stress. It's so important. And there's even been, like, you know, science talking about, like, you know, the fascia that surrounds your muscles, how it stores emotion. It stores emotion. And so imagine you doing that, releasing all that emotion. It's incredible. I mean, I've had numerous times where I'm like, this is a true story. This guy was like getting up in my neck really hard, and I like just started bawling my eyes out, just crying. And I'm like, what's happening? And he's like, oh, I'm just releasing all this trapped emotion that was like stuck up in here. And I was like, oh, that sounds like very woo-woo-y and like ooh. But I promise you, I experienced it, and I really truly believe that. So, yeah. And also, I like to go outside and have fun. Having fun is important. Having fun is so important. I think people get, you know, working, and I gotta be better. And they have all this like high standards that they just can't meet, or whatever it might be. You just gotta have fun. I definitely take time to just enjoy myself, and it keeps me happy. Yeah. Get over here.
Oh, there we go. Now it's on. Right. So I posted on Facebook that I was going to be on stage with you, and I invited people to ask some questions. So I'm going to give you some of the questions from people who couldn't be here this afternoon.
Perfect.
The first one is, and actually this lady is in the audience because she's too shy to say anything. She called you a triple threat. That's what she said. She said you are a triple threat, and she wanted to know, because you've mastered so many things in your short life, she said, what have you got in the future? Something you'd like to get better at, or something new that you'd like to learn?
Oh, well, yes. There's many things that I would love to get better at, and many things that I want to learn. In fact, I just took my first Muay Thai class like 2 weeks ago. That's elbow thing came from right here. Just, you know, elbowing some stuff. I don't know, for me, I think improvement, progress is never ending. And even in dance, you know, I was with my friend in New York, and I had a few hours to spare. I went to a tap, he is an incredible tap dancer, incredible. And I was like, dude, I want to learn some new things, teach me. And we just worked on we didn't even learn anything new, we just worked on the fundamentals. Because I think it's really important as well, that even if you think that you're the best at something, you always gotta work on the fundamentals. John Wooden, you know, one of the all-time best coaches, you know, on the planet, That was like his whole thing, was the fundamentals. But there are definitely things in the future that are lined up, you know, I can't talk about right now because, you know, people part of it want to be like, we want to make this huge announcement about it. I'm like, well, okay, I'll wait for that moment. But yes, again, there's so many things. Honestly, my list is endless of things I want to get better at and improve upon. And because like I said earlier, progress equals happiness. I think even when you're progressing, even in small increments, it stacks up. And I think that you feel the best when you're moving in a certain direction. You know, I know for me, there was a moment when I was dancing and I just kind of plateaued. I was the world champion, 19 years old, I went to Czech Republic. I'm like, you know, king of the world. I trained so hard, it was crazy. And then I just kind of plateaued for a moment, and I just remember feeling terrible because my internal, you know, whatever you want to call it, was saying, hey, like it's time to improve, even if it's just a little, So yeah. Sorry, there's many things, yeah.
And that was for Karen. So I'm just going to big you up, Karen. Karen's journey was very long. She was a participant in a dance class that I used to instruct. She then spent, 5-6 years, got herself up, got qualified and certified so she could teach that class.
Yes.
So she's been on a huge journey.
Go on, Karen.
Karen.
Yeah, baby. Yes.
Okay, another question from a friend from Facebook, and she asked, when did you know that you were going to dance?
When did I know I was going to dance? I was, good question. Well, first of all, I kicked and screamed when I took the dance class. I was like, no, this is for girls. I hate this. And I was dragged by my mom. But when the music came on, I learned, you know, and I started articulating my body to the music. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is interesting. And when that happened, I felt really aligned with myself, even at a young age. I was like, I feel like I'm me. And there was a moment, and I just kind of got in momentum of it. Went to competitions, I had goals, I had clarity, you know, where I was like, oh, I want to achieve this. Cool, I've never had a vision before because I'm 12. But here we are, this is amazing. So I think it really was the moment when I first held the embrace of a girl's touch. I was like, I gotta dance with a girl, this is awesome, okay. No, I think I was about 12 years old though.
Okay.
It was the music, yeah, the music.
And that's great. And you and I talked a little bit backstage about your relationship with Tony Robbins and how Tony changed your life. Yeah. So you were 15 and you went to a UPW.
I did.
Explain to us exactly what happened at that UPW.
So obviously Tony Robbins, he's been kind of a mentor of mine throughout my life, indirectly I would suppose. But I went to a seminar when I was 15 years old. And he's been an incredible influence in my life, incredible. And I attribute a lot of my success in competition to a lot of his techniques. But yeah, I was in Cardiff, Wales, of all places, 15, rocking on hot coals like a weirdo. It was crazy, but I loved it. It was awesome. He's good, great guy, great man. We're dear friends now, so yeah, he's a good guy, really amazing.
All right, that's fantastic. So I think we're going to come back out to the audience for a couple more questions.
Yeah, I think she had one right here. Yeah. Go on. Are you guys good? Everybody good? You guys good? Are you guys got enough pre-workout in yet? I'm just kidding.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. My girls and I are huge fans.
Oh, thank you.
Love to dance. But one of the things you might not be able to talk about, we heard that Broadway and Singing in the Rain was in the works, and it's our favorite movie. We're like, we saw this and we were like, look, Don Lockwood could possibly be a role for you in the future.
I'm not gonna say anything. But I will say this: there was a big announcement about it, and I was going to do it, yes. And then there was definitely people attached to that project that didn't work out well. I won't say anything more than that. You can do your research. But what's wonderful is I actually have an amazing team, and we're looking back into that project, and it's, yeah. I'm not gonna say any more about that, but yeah, I'm gonna just do one of these.
When you're on Running Wild, what was the most challenging part of it?
When I was on Running Wild with Bear Grylls, what was one of the most challenging parts about it? Let me tell you right now. The most challenging part was rappelling off this cliff. And I've done it before, so rappelling, so I'm hanging off this cliff like this, right? and I'm on this rope, right? But here's what's crazy. Usually when you do that, they're like, okay, Derek, so all right, stop rolling. So this is what we're gonna do, Derek. We're gonna like attach this and it'll explain it to you. Nope, that didn't happen. He's like, here, put this on, turn around. I'm like, okay. He goes, all right, now go. He's pushing me. And he goes, Bear goes, whatever you do, don't let go of that part. And I'm like, wait, what part? What was it? And he's pushing me like this, and I'm literally freaking out. So I'm going down the whole time like this, like muscling it down, and halfway through my arms start to give out because I'm just, I'm way too tense. And eventually I start to let go and lose my grip. And sliding, I'm like, oh wait, this is how it's supposed to feel. You're supposed to be relaxed. But that was scary because I thought I was gonna fall to my death. And also, the rope was being held up by a cellular phone, an iPhone 10 Plus or something, I don't know. Yeah, iPhone Plus. And there was on a timer, and when the timer went off, it vibrated and it came loose, and then the rope would come loose. So I had to hurry up and get down. It was pretty crazy. That man's crazy. It's crazy. What you see on TV it's real. There's no like, all right, let's try that one more time. Let's do that again. No. It's like, all right, go. And it's pretty crazy, but I loved it. And by the way, I love your shirt. Super cute.
Hi. Sorry. I just want to say I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
From Czech Republic, so very proud that you just mentioned
that.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to ask if you're still practicing Latin and like now, like you're on the road, you just still have some regime, or do you have a trainer, or who do you look up to now? Like.
Yeah, when I'm on the road, I actually have one of my trainer here, Mark right there, Mark Herrera. Give it up for Mark Herrera over there, those plaid shorts, ladies and gentlemen. He hates me right now. If you're ever in LA, he has a studio actually called Pulse Fitness in Studio City. Check it out. A little plug there. So on my regime when I'm on the road, what I like to do as much as I possibly can is go for jogs, just to get my heart rate up physically. But as far as dancing goes, it's mainly stretching. There's been a few times where I'll go practice and be in a studio and dance. Actually practice like technique and do walks across the floor and whatnot. But I tend to sort of just do that throughout the day naturally. I don't sort of allocate a time. I'm kind of like waiting in line for something, and I'm like practicing a cucaracha or something and getting in tune with my body, whatever it might be, so. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead. Or over here.
Three things that you can't live without.
3 things I can't live without. Water. That's one. That's actually just fact. Water, but I also love water. I'm gonna do a silly one. My jog jeans, which are like sweatpant jeans, because I travel a lot. They're super comfortable. And like 7 years ago when they first came out, people were like laughing at me like, were you wearing sweatpant jeans? And now they're like totally in, and I'm like, I told you, these are so comfortable, they're amazing. What else can I not live without? Being outside, I think. That's not a really good one. I'll get back to that one. That's a hard one. What about you? What are 3 things you can't live without? A book? Southern comfort? I love it. And her daughter's like, me, Mom? Come on. By the way, in that order, Southern comfort, daughter.
So, did you have trouble choosing between dancing and other careers? And how did you choose?
Well, I was actually, fortunately, I got into dancing quite young, and I was competing, and it was one of those things where I never really planned on. It just kind of started happening. One thing led to another thing. And I never really looked at like dancing as a career, rather than just like I wanted to compete and be the best I possibly could and be the best, dancer. And then fortunately, it turned into where I was able to like earn money, and I did musical theater. I was in London West End, and did theater and started to like make a career or make a living doing, the arts. And then of course Dancing with the Stars was a huge platform to, like, who would have thought ballroom and Latin dancing, like, for me it was such a small world that I lived in, and then when that happened, it just opened up my world to so many different possibilities. It was extraordinary. So yeah. It was kind of like a little thing that kind of just happened.
What advice would you give to someone starting as a new personal trainer?
As some advice as a personal trainer, I would say one of the pieces of advice I give people in general that want to just get better at something. I know for me, what really helped me a lot was I had mentors, and I had people. My peer group were strong, meaning that I was surrounded by the best. And for me, it really, I moved to England at 12 years old. Like, I know, that's drastic, but it put me in the right environment to be the best. If I wasn't necessarily in that environment, I don't know if I would have become a world champion. Because you become who you hang around with, you become your peer group. So I think if you want to be the best possible, personal trainer, put yourself in a room with people who are the best, right here. Exactly, here, meeting people, being around people, asking somebody, hey, I look up to you, I would love for you to be a mentor of mine, give me advice, help me, you know what I mean? And I think that's a fast track. It's definitely a fast track. I feel like anybody that I've ever met that's succeeded in something, they've always had somebody helping them, guiding them, mentoring them. So surround yourself with good people. I think that's one of the best advices I can possibly give. Thanks.
Hi. How do you stay grounded with the fame that you have?
I don't. I'm so big-headed. I'm just kidding. No, for me, my family, my dad definitely keeps me grounded, in a wonderful, wonderful way. I think, honestly, I'm just grateful. I think that there's a great thing actually Tony talks about actually, and it's, trade your expectations for appreciation. And that's really helped me a lot tremendously, because there's moments where you feel like that people should act a certain way, or that life should be a certain way, and why isn't it this way? And there's all these expectations, and it's sort of like in those moments, I'm like, well, how can I appreciate this moment instead? How can I appreciate this person, my family, or this person that's bugging me, whatever it might be, how can I appreciate them more? And for me, that keeps you pretty grounded, because you look at life where you don't expect things, you appreciate them. And for me, that keeps me grounded, I feel, and I'm in a, because you can't, I think that's the best way, I think thinking about it,
Hi, I'm very proud of you and love what you do. And I was wondering if you have any interest in writing another book.
Do I have any interest in writing another book? Maybe. I have to say, I'm going to be quite honest with you. There is definitely another chapter there that's pretty in depth that I think that maybe one day I'll get to. So perhaps I will. We'll see when it comes, when the time is right, for instance. But yeah, maybe I will. I'm not sure. Who knows?
Okay. Hi, I've been teaching salsa and bachata at my university for a couple years now.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm at a point where I'm stagnating, because every term there's new people who wants to learn to dance. So I've been teaching beginner and beginner intermediate classes over and over. And I've been meaning to take more classes, but between teaching dance and fitness, life just got really busy. So I was wondering if you have ever felt the same way in your life. Maybe you've been doing the same thing over and over, and you thought you're not growing as a dancer. What did you do?
100%. Honestly, being on Dancing with the Stars was a kind of a scary moment, because, I went from being about me, right? Was like me. I wanted to be this. I got to be the best. To also being a teacher. And it became more about them, right? Which was an amazing lesson for me, incredible lesson, because it's more sustainable energy when you're serving others, when you're helping others. It's so much better. But I also recognize that in that moment, I was like, now I'm starting to forget about me a little bit, meaning improve myself, get better at something, go to class, and I stopped going to class because I felt like I was in class all day teaching. You know what I mean? But I would just say I definitely felt that, but the worst piece of advice I could give is you gotta go. You just gotta go to class, you gotta find the time, because you gotta allocate some time for you and your improvement, but I think also being a teacher and serving others is the best, it's the most incredible thing ever, so yeah. Yes? Yeah.
Hi, sir. My daughter dances competitively, and she's very serious about it. But is there any cross-training things or other training that you would recommend? She's 14, and I'm sure there's lots of kids here that dance, and they watch you, and they watch, like, every time there's something spectacular on World of Dance, it happens in my basement. But, you know, they're training and trying to do these things. Is there any cross-training or other workout type things that you would recommend?
I think for me, being a dancer, being mobile is so important, right? Being flexible. I personally, quite honestly, am not the most flexible dancer you'll ever meet. I'm not one of those guys who can put their leg up here like this, although I wish I could. But, you know, there's actually certain workouts that I do that are like, I mean, just a typical workout. And this is, you know, like an oblique workout, right? Where you're holding a weight and you're doing one of these. I actually, as I do it, I actually emulate sort of a dance motion. Sort of almost repeating a dance motion. So like when I'm, it's kind of silly, but people look at me weird when I'm in the gym. No joke, when I'm like doing this and I'm like holding something like this. And I'm like, I get this like extra squeeze down here, but also what I'm doing is I'm repeating a certain movement that I do in dance, and I'm training it over and over and over again, because, you know, repetition is the mother of all skills. So I like, personally, I do like yoga, I stretch a lot, you know, cardio, sprinting for stamina. I know for me, being a competitor, one of my biggest challenges wasn't the quality of my dancing when I competed, it was staying consistent with my energy, because halfway through a round, I would get tired, and all of a sudden, all my quality went out the window. I was just surviving. I was like, you know, dancing, because it was a marathon. So I think as far as, you know, stamina, high endurance, flexibility, mobility, important. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. There's so many different exercises out there. I love all of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Derek. I just think you're so wholesome looking, and I love that I don't see any tattoos on you. I just love that. They're not visible.
I'm just kidding. I don't have any tattoos.
And I have a question about Dancing with the Stars. Your favorite, well, you might not want to answer this, but who your favorite partner was, your star partner, or if not, your favorite moment.
Okay, I'm gonna go on record and say that I love tattoos, by the way. I love them. I think it's amazing art. I'm just a wuss. I'm just kidding. One of my favorite partners, I've had so many amazing partners. You know, a few that stand out just off the top of my head. Kelly Pickler was great. Oh my gosh, Bindi Irwin. Bindi Irwin was like this little ball of energy, this bright light. My favorite thing, she would come in and she'd be like, she's like, hello Derek, hello, and she greets me with the back of her hand like this, hello, and I'm like, well, what is she doing? Like, why is she doing this? And then after a while, I was like, oh, she thinks I'm an animal. Oh, great. You know, like, you know, we put your back of your hand to an animal. I'm like, she thinks I'm gonna bite her. Okay, I see. But also, like, we'd be dancing, and she's like, oh dear, 3 of my toenails fell off. All right, carry on then. All right, brilliant. It's a terrible accent. I apologize for any Australians out there. Kelly Pickler, Bindi Irwin, oh my gosh, Nastia Lukin, Amy Purdy. Amy Purdy was an extraordinary experience. You know, I don't know if you know this, Amy Purdy was a Paralympian. She had 2 prosthetic legs, and she was extraordinary. You know, we had no reference. There was no like YouTube video. I was like, okay, dancing with. There was nothing I could look up to sort of reference what to do or how we could do this. So we really had to improvise and figure out what we had to do. And we ordered feet. You know, we ordered swimming feet that were pointed like this, so you could put flippers on them to swim. And we put them on because we were having a problem with aesthetics, meaning like when we do a move, her foot would constantly be flexed, right? It was like this because it's a prosthetic foot. So I was like, well, how can we make this look, you know, more aesthetically pleasing like a dancer? So we ordered these pointed feet. So she had to dance literally on like half a square inch. It was tiny little space, basically on stilts. But it gave this beautiful line with her leg. So that was an extraordinary experience. And then we did the quick step where she put the blades on, you know those blades? You see the runners, the sprinters wear? And we're dancing like, you know, across the floor, like gliding. But one of the most special moments of that season with Amy Purdy wasn't the competing part, wasn't being on stage, wasn't all this in the camera lights and the whole thing. It was a moment when she sat down. We were practicing the Argentine tango, and she sat down on the stool, and she just started crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I say? I must have did something to offend her, or like, oh my gosh. And I went up to her and I said, Amy, what's wrong? What's wrong, honey? And she goes, and she had her legs crossed. And she said, this is the first time I've felt feminine since I lost my legs. I feel like I lost that feminine energy. I feel like I lost that elegance within me when I lost my legs. And dancing, getting back in tune with my body and moving my body a certain way. Like, she's like, I feel like my woman, this femininity is like, it's back. She kind of reclaimed that, and it just brought her to tears. And I don't know, I have 4 sisters, so I get emotional when I talk about stuff. Sorry. But that was definitely a special moment. Definitely, there's numerous moments like that. Nastia Liukin, another great moment. You know, she kind of had this like strong, like kind of hard look to her. You know, honestly, she had this like, you know, I'm Nastia Liukin, you know, Olympic gold medalist. Ugh. And I started talking to her, and I said, when is your name I was like, is your name Nastia? She's like, oh no, my name's Anastasia. And I was like, oh, it's Anastasia. And when she said that, her whole face softened, her whole demeanor softened. And I was like, when did you start calling yourself Nastia? And she said, when I started doing gymnastics. I was like, well, how old was that? She was like 6 years old. I was like, well, let's talk about the girl that you were before 6. Like, let's talk about that girl, that little girl, the Anastasia. And the more the more I kept saying Anastasia, her whole, like, I transformed before my eyes, honestly. Her whole look, her whole feeling, her whole demeanor. And for the rest of the season, that's what I called her. And for her, I actually just saw her a couple weeks ago, and she even said that was a defining moment in her life, because she kind of reclaimed that little girl, you know, that you kind of leave behind, or that little boy that you leave behind, because you're like, well, it's time to go. I gotta be the best. I gotta do this. I gotta go. And you're like, wait, I gotta go pick up myself, because that's all part of who we are. And sometimes we forget that. We forget that person in us, that child in us. So yeah, so I think that was a very special moment as well. I really liked. So yeah.
Eric, we have time for 2 more questions.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Hi.
So,
you have definitely a dancer's neck for sure. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So from one dancer to another, how do you connect with your music? Like when you dance, you're just so into it. Like it looks like you can really like feel the movement and everything. And how do you do that? Like,
how do I connect to the music?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think it's the, let's see. 2 things that I connect to a lot are strings and percussion. Those 2 things, something about the strings in a violin or like a kick drum or something, or there's something that just like, it flips a switch in me that I just can't help myself with. I think as well, lyrics as well, storytelling. You know, I'm sure there's songs that you hear that you get really connected to. I think all of us, right? I think there's all types of music that you listen to and you're like, this moves me to tears, this motivates me, this excites me. How do you get connected to music? I'm curious.
If it's just like this past year for my tap solo, what I did, literally, I just listened to the music a lot over and over again and just kind of really paid attention to the lyrics. And then like a lot of the judges too would comment and be like, oh, you look so connected. And I was really confused because I was like, really? Like I didn't realize it. And then that's just kind of like my little trick, like just over listening to the music and finding a way to connect to it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. It's actually funny. There's a quick. I'll elaborate a little bit, but you know the word ole. The word ole. Actually, the Spanish stole it from like a tribe, and basically ole for them meant God. It meant like another power. It meant like a higher power. It meant something otherworldly almost. And when they would dance, they would scream ole. It's like, oh man. They're in ole. They're in this like space that is connected to something different and other than themselves. And it doesn't always happen, but I know for me, those are moments that I cherish when I get lost in the moment. But I also don't just get lost; I get present at the same time, where I'm so in the moment that it's like this like high. I'm so present that it's crazy. You know what I mean? And for me, that's what I strive for. That's what I strive for when I'm dance. When you're completely in the moment, that's the best feeling. It's the best.
So I guess adding to that, is there one dance style that you enjoy the most, that you can get into that present state more than other? If you had to pick one.
If there's one dance style and I had to choose one, I would probably have to say, That's a hard one. You're the fusion of all the dances. But actually, I do that now, where I fuse. There's never really been a dance where I'm just like, it's like a soul cha-cha or a soul paso doble or something. But I tend to gravitate these days towards the dramatic dances, like the paso dobles or the Argentine tangos. There's something about them that just connects me to my masculine energy, that I just feel super, just like, just that, just a. That's it. I don't know. Yeah, but it's hard to pick because it depends on what mood I'm in. It depends on what energy I'm in. You know, it's all different. It's all different colors. When I hear music, I see color. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to choose one. So choose one. Cool.
Well, thank you so much, Derek, for being so open. This was Derek's idea to do questions from you, yeah? So he wanted to be able to answer all of your questions for you, and I think he's done a fantastic job in the last 45 minutes. We are going to, I know, it's gone that quickly.
Yeah.
We are going to head over to the meet and greet, but I am going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. There are people who've been lining up since 12 o'clock. And the girl that's at the front of the stage, I think, is 6 years old and has been here since 12. So we're not going to guarantee that you're going to get meet and greet, but that is where the line is over there. So we're going to head off for a couple of minutes, and then you'll be able to see Derek over there.
Oh, okay. I thought people were just leaving. Okay, good. Awesome, guys. I'll see you guys over there, all right? Let's go hug. Let's go take photos.